Welcome, Internet Nomad. This is my own game tales of Harmony, Fall of Reverie. Harmony, Fall of Reverie is a don't nod visual novel game. I played it on release and liked it enough to finish the wonderful story. Don't Nod hooked me with Life is Strange 1 and 2. After playing all the Life is Strange games, I hear my favorite developers were working on a visual novel called Harmony, Fall of Reverie. I first heard of this game on X. I created an X account for my video game channel and followed my favorite video game related accounts. One day, Don't Nod posts about this game on X. I knew this game wouldn't play like Life is Strange, but I thought maybe the story will be good enough for me to like it. I don't usually play visual novels often. Every Life is Strange fan recommends these types of games and point and clicks. I just don't like them as much. I played the game right when it was released. I love the art style of this game. I wanted to advance the scene immediately and instead look at the environments over and over. The background is a visual treat. The game looks 3D while having the hand drawn style. The characters are also 2D drawings that have some animations when they talk. This game is a more traditional visual novel. I haven't played many of those games before, but it was a great game to cut my teeth into. I have played a few visual novels since then, but I like the concept of this one more. Basically, Reverie is the other dimension where the aspirations live. Harmony is able to bounce between reality and Reverie. Harmony's real name is Polly. Harmony is her Reverie name. Harmony is actually a goddess form of Polly. There's a bad guy corporation running the island. The game begins with Polly returning home after she heard her mother disappeared. The bad guy organization is called MK, and they are controlling everything that happens on the island. The gameplay is choosing paths and collecting these crystals. Each aspiration has their own crystal, which are used to unlock paths and gain endings. Each chapter requires the player to collect a certain number of crystals to be able to choose that ending. The aspirations are glory, power, bliss, chaos, truth, and bond. The goal of the game is to collect enough of a certain aspiration crystals to make them the heart of Reverie. There's a secret ending if you're able to balance all the crystals that allows Harmony to become the heart instead. Yeah, I feel the secret ending is made too obvious. They explain in the game to balance the crystals after the first act, but it is clear by the fact you are called Harmony that you are also an aspiration. The game tries to make this a great reveal, but it is clear to almost everyone that this would be the case. Unfortunately, I was only able to choose between Bliss and Glory. Bliss was my favorite of the aspirations, so I chose her path often. Bliss is the cool streamer who inspires to be happy. I love her design and chose her path so often that I collected way too many of her crystals. I won't cover the story since it's a visual novel. The whole point of the game is to read the story. I might make a blog post discussing the game with spoilers down the road. I think the gameplay made me feel like a puzzle. Harmony has the power to see the future, which explains how the player is able to see the paths ahead. Sometimes having a certain crystal will force a different path to be taken. It becomes this game of picking based on what paths will open. Some choices are impossible to avoid if you met the criteria to get them. I love the story, but a second playthrough is not on my list with this game. I never replayed a chapter because I was content with the choices I made. One of the big criticisms of this game is the long loading screens. It's probably only a problem on the Switch port. I can't see the new gen consoles having this problem. I also didn't like the voice acting as much. Maybe it's because I'm from New York and we just talk faster. At points, there would be pauses in the dialogue that I believe shouldn't be there. I started playing on mute, but then I grew used to the voice acting near the end. Maybe I'm just impatient. The story doesn't really pick up until the later sections of the story. In fact, the game keeps reminding you that MK is in control, but in my playthrough, they didn't do anything to make it clear until I got to the climax. Yes, there's cameras in certain scenes like 1984, Maybe if I went public with my mother being missing, there would be more involvement of MK. I like the game's depiction of depression a great deal. There's an interlude late in the game where Polly is depressed and avoids going back to Reverie. I won't spoil what she's depressed about, but I love how the game handled it. Basically, the path tree became a straight line with no choices or deviations. I felt this really made the idea of depression clear. Polly is unable to do much more than the bare minimum. After this interlude, Polly ends up getting out of depression and continuing the story. At the end of the game, I only had enough crystals for Bliss and Glory, and I picked Bliss over Glory. Based on the aspirations you collected crystals for, the end game events coincide with that aspiration. Bliss causes happy things to happen, while Power and Glory causes shifts in powers and other big events to happen. I am playing other Donut games, which I will cover down the road. I decided to talk about Tell Me Why in June, since it focuses on Pride and it's free every June. May's video is going to be this bed we made and milk inside a bag of milk inside a bag of milk. This bed we made is the first game that truly captured the Life is Strange games outside of Donut. I'm following these developers closely. I also want to return to making fanfiction on this account. I might make Harmony fanfiction soon because I love the concept of aspirations. I think there's so much material I could make using these characters.